Come plant my fall garden with me. I'm Abby with the Heirloom Farmer. This is my small scale, no dig organic garden. For reference, I am in central Pennsylvania. Our average last frost is May 15th. Our average first frost is October 15th, and today is August 14th. So we have about 60 days left of frost-free growing. You can see, unfortunately, deer or something munched off my beet tops, but that's okay. We're pulling these beets out today anyway, and they didn't harm the beets at all. Typically, when we have hot, dry weather, that's when I see the most deer damage, and sure enough, that's what has happened again. Today, I'm going to be planting some of my fall crops. As you've heard in all of the videos I share, I am always planting, always harvesting. So it's not like I'm just planting things today and that's it. I will continue to plant short season crops that can tolerate frost. And of course, I have a lot to harvest today. These tomatoes are all looking amazing. These are homestead tomatoes here. They are reliably setting fruit as they are known to do. And then look at these Cherokee purple tomatoes here are beautiful. I'm probably going to come through this one back here. That one is ripe. All of these are close. You can see this one's splitting a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to harvest all of those and take them home, put them on my counter. They'll continue to ripen, hopefully with less splitting or less issues. It'll also take some of the stress off of this plant so that then it can put its energy into producing more fruit. And over here, these are the Oxheart type tomatoes. I will also harvest some of those, and I'm probably gonna grab a few green tomatoes so that we can enjoy fried green tomatoes this evening. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my seedlings that I'm gonna plant today, mostly brassicas. I'm gonna clear out this section here, harvest everything that I can. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to remove those sunflowers, but I'll cut them and take them home as cut flowers to enjoy. And then I will have this space that I can plant a bunch of brassicas and then put on a row cover, and I'll show you what that's gonna look like. I am gonna plant brassicas in other parts of my garden as well that won't be covered, but I wanted to have that one nice section of covered brassicas to get a really good harvest. But also, let's just take a moment, look at these. These are Cinderella peach zinnias. Aren't they absolutely lovely? I can't wait for the rest of those to bloom. And I want to cut some and take them home to enjoy. They are so neat. Definitely one I'm going to add to my must grow list, and so I'll be saving seed from these as well. All right, so I planted some cauliflower, and most of the rest of this is cabbage. I also planted some beets and a little bit of lettuce. I planted things pretty close together, but my hope is that the lettuce and the beets will be ready to harvest when the cabbage is really starting to fill out. And then you can see I have put this row cover on. So I know that I have problems with cabbage moths, or the caterpillars of the cabbage moths. They are little green caterpillars that can totally eat away entire cabbage plants, and really they like anything in the brassica family. There's some that they'll leave alone, but they pretty much will eat, cauliflower, broccoli, kale, cabbage. Because I know they're a problem and I don't spray any insecticides, the two things I do are use row covers and hand pick them off. Hand picking them off requires checking every day or every other day to really stay on top of them. It is doable, especially if you have a small garden space. and depending on the time of year. Like this spring, they weren't really a problem until late June. And at that point I just started picking them off, and then some of the worst plants I did compost, but we were able to get a lot of successful spring brassicas with that. I don't like using row covers. They're an extra cost. Takes more time to put them on, and then it just seems like you're constantly fighting with them, moving them, taking them on and off to weed, to harvest. And so I use them, but I don't like to use them. But I wanted to try this style row cover. It was a bit of an investment, but I think I already like it. I'll keep updating you and give you more of a review once I've actually used it. But it's called a LowCat from Neversink Farm. Neversink Farm Tools. He's a farmer in New York, and I have a couple of his hand tools, but he designed these LowCat tunnels. And you can do insect netting, you can do plastic, you can do frost covers. There's a whole bunch of things that you can put over the hoops. But the reason I decided there's two main reasons I decided I wanted to give this a try and spend the extra money for it. Actually three. So, it has the hoops, and that will keep the row cover up off of the plants and helps keep it in place above the plants. It's a heavier weight fabric. It's not like Agribon 15, which is really lightweight and rips and tears easily. This is a heavier weight insect netting. It seems like it's gonna really hold up. I think I'll be able to use it for a few seasons as long as I take care of it. So it seems really heavy duty, like it's gonna really work and last. And it has a bunch of different features, but with the bungee cord or roping that you secure over each hoop, it keeps it held down and in place. But when I want to access the bed, I can just pull it up and it stays up out of my way, so I can access. Now obviously you're still going to be reaching under the bed, but if I access from both sides, I can easily reach in and access, for weeding, harvesting, checking things, but that will stay up out of the way. I can push this one up and then have access to the bed. So I'm not having to remove the row cover. I'm not having to deal with rocks or weights to keep it down. It seems I had to really, and the ground was hard because it's so dry, so it was hard to get the stakes in at the ends. But a key is getting it tight, and I had watched a bunch of videos, so I knew that. But getting it secured at each end very tightly. Now I had a little trouble here because I didn't want to pull those cosmos out. But getting that really tight the whole distance so that the bungees work the way that they're supposed to is key. But then with that, I just push it down to the surface of the soil. And it seems like as long as I have it pulled tight and pushed back down after I've been done accessing it, that it's going to work really well. Now, could a bug or something get in under there? Sure, but that's going to happen with any row cover. So far I am liking this setup. I was able to set it up myself. I could see where it would be a little easier to set up with two people, so you can tighten, pull tight both ends at the same time. But even then, like I said, I had a lot of trouble pounding in the stakes because the ground is so dry. In fact, I didn't get this one in all the way, but that's the secondary stake. So I pulled it down and pounded this stake down in, twisted it around, and then this one should also be down in to keep more tension on it, but I can't get that one in. So it is what it is for now. And I'm excited to see how this works. I also had a few problems with deer, so it'll keep deer or whatever other critters from munching my cabbage and other plants under here. And I may put a little bit more lettuce in, but I will keep you updated. I'll let you know how it goes. It's supposed to hold up to the weather really, really well, which is good because we do have wind that comes through quite a bit. But again, I will update you on that. If you're interested in knowing more about it, again, it's Neversink Tools. You can Google them, you'll find it, and it's called the LowCat. I actually ordered one of the larger tunnels, and then you order based on the number of hoops that you want, and you're supposed to put the hoops approximately every 5 feet for best results. And then you order whatever length of cover and type of cover you want. So I actually ordered a set of 11, and all the pieces that go with that, but I cut this section of the fabric because I wanted to specifically cover this area of my garden. And then with that, now I have the hoops and all of the supplies and the cover to do another section, I think like a 30-foot section, which I'm hoping, because I try really hard to only expand my garden a little bit at a time. It makes it so much easier and more successful when you only expand a little bit at a time. Next year, actually probably over the winter, I'm considering putting another bed in here, and then that would give me a place to use the 30-foot cover next season. Obviously it wouldn't go the whole length if I make it a 50-foot bed, but then I can have 2 sections, and I decided on 2 sections because one long row of row cover might be great, it might be easy to put up and have one whole long section that you can do a lot in. But I thought, well, if I'm planting brassicas to keep cabbage worms off, and I'm planting things like cucumbers wanting to keep cucumber beetles off, and squash bugs and things like that, both of those are going to need different care. So like the cucumbers, at some point I will have to take the row cover off so that they can be pollinated, but I wouldn't necessarily want to take the cover off the cabbage and things at the same time. So that's why I decided to go with the larger package, but then cut it down in half, partly to fit the layout of my garden, but then to fit the different types of crops. So if you're interested in knowing more about this, be sure to subscribe to my future videos, because I will continue to give updates on how this works out. And then eventually when I set the other section up. As far as the rest of the garden, it has been hot and dry, and I've had a few things going on, so I have not spent as much time out here as normal. So there's a few things that are showing a little bit of, they're just looking a little rough because of that. I've not been watering as often as they probably need to be watered, but the tomatoes, this is the best tomato year I've had in a long time. I know we're just getting started, but it has been fantastic. And you can see there's a lot of green tomatoes on here. I've got something going on here, maybe a blight, but I've just been pruning some off, and I'm still successfully getting tomatoes. I harvested an entire basket from this row this morning. We've been eating fried green tomatoes, so I've been harvesting some green tomatoes. This is a homestead tomato. Those are homestead tomatoes there. And look at these giant, these are hillbilly tomatoes. They will mature to a beautiful yellow with a little pale pink coloring. And then these ox heart tomatoes. So we've been eating tomato sandwiches, fried green tomatoes, and just eating tomatoes by the slice. So it's been really great for the tomatoes. Oh, I did plant a little bit of purple Savoy cabbage in here that's not covered, that I'll just check on. And I have more brassicas and other fall veggies that I'm going to be planting out throughout the garden that won't be covered. I'll hand pick what I can, and then they're kind of going to be on their own. With the lack of watering, my lettuce has been struggling. We were kind of okay though with a break from lettuce. We've been eating so much lettuce this year, which is a huge blessing, but we were ready to eat some other garden veggies. So the fact that the lettuce is struggling a little bit is okay. It's working out. I've got some onions here that I could harvest anytime. We've been harvesting and eating onions as we want to, but these will need to come out soon. Plus I will need that space. These are the Cinderella Peach Zinnias. So beautiful. I can't wait for more of them to bloom. This is my favorite cherry tomato, the Sunrise Bumblebee. We've been eating a lot of those. I've got, oh yeah, Matt's Wild cherry tomato. We've been eating tons and tons of those. There's more coming right there. And these are Queen Lime Zinnias, I believe. They're starting to bloom. I got the hose running there on some green beans. But yeah, you can see things are looking a little rough and dry, except for the tomatoes. Look at that. It's all the way at the top of the trellis and still going strong. I've got peppers coming along. Oh, something got the top of those beets. I think it's deer. I think they're coming in again. When it's hot and dry, they seem to give me more problems. I think I don't know if they get a little braver for food. Look at these beautiful black strawberry tomatoes. They are so pretty. I love those, plus they're delicious. Got a melon coming there, and another bread and salt ox heart tomato here. And the beets, which are giant, so I should probably go ahead and harvest those, but we've had lots of beets. We've been eating lots, so I hadn't needed to harvest them yet, but it looks like I should probably harvest them today, especially since the deer are munching on them. Still been getting a few cucumbers, although they're starting to look rough. I mean, everything is looking a little rough again because of the weather, but that's pretty good for cucumbers. This banana pepper is like loaded and doing really, really well. So I'm gonna harvest some of those and make refrigerator pickled peppers. So yeah, that is kind of what's going on in the garden right now. Really just transitioning to fall gardening, while still enjoying the abundance of summer. And really, in a lot of ways, it's just starting with the tomatoes and the peppers. And I'm going to be planting lettuce, kale, Brussels sprouts, spinach. I just started peas and lettuce and spinach inside to get them started well, and then I'll transplant those out. So there's still a lot you can be planting and adding to your garden. For brassicas, you are going to need to be planting them from transplants, but you can plant peas, lettuce, spinach, and really anything that matures in less than 60 days or that is frost hardy, you can still be planting in your garden. So if you have space from harvesting things, or you really want to get a fall garden growing, that's what you can still plant and enjoy now. And I'm going to be looking forward to some slightly cooler weather, hopefully some cool mornings at least coming up, and hopefully we get some rain and I will get my garden back to back in a little bit better shape. I'll get a little bit more planted. I want to get this area here planted. There's some things here that need to come out that went to seed or just got, I missed the harvest window and they got woody. So I'm going to be emptying some things out, planting more things. So even though I had kind of like a few weeks of, I don't even know what it was, that garden slump that I had talked about and a few other things going on, I know that I will get back to loving my garden and having a thriving and beautiful garden. I don't have to give up for any reason. We still have a lot of growing season left, and again, I don't know what it is about this year, but I am really looking forward to the cooler weather and hopefully some rain. All right, so I hope this gave you some ideas on things you can be doing in your garden. If you struggle with pests on your brassicas, perhaps give row covers a try. You don't have to use this one. You don't have to use one that's more expensive. You can just buy inexpensive, like Agribon 15, to give it a try. There's options there, and like I said, you can also hand pick. And I also hope this gave you ideas on some things that you can be harvesting and planting in your garden. And if you are like me and maybe not thrilled with your garden right now, just know that that is okay. You will fall back in love with your garden. You don't have to, give up or stay in that overwhelm or frustration. You can definitely fall back in love with your garden, and fall is the perfect time to do that. All right, if you enjoyed this video, if you were inspired or learned something, or just want to know more about our farm and what we do here at the Heirloom Farmer, I would love for you to go to our website, theheirloomfarmer.com, and subscribe to our email list. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will be posting more gardening videos. I hope to do a tomato tasting video, so if you're interested in that, I will be tasting and reviewing the heirloom tomatoes that we grow and which ones are going to be on my must grow again list, and we'll also see if there's any that I'm not going to grow again. So if you're interested in a video like that, let me know. I hope to post something like that in a week or two once we have all of our tomatoes are ripe. There's like 2 or 3 varieties that haven't ripened yet, so I'm kind of waiting on those. That would be you, hillbilly potato leaf. But yes, so look forward to that video, and I hope that you do love and enjoy your garden and all of the beauty that God creates and we get to be stewards of. All right, thank you, and God bless.